Remember how you loved the stories at bedtime about princesses and fairy godmothers? Well, you may want to hold on tighter to your teddy bear and keep that nightlight on, because these are not your mother's bedtime stories.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Not Your Mother's Bedtime Story. I am one of your hosts, Chrissy. I'm joined here today with my mom and sisters. Go ahead, ladies.
Colleen's here.
Oh, I'm Karen the mom.
And Sherry's here.
And I'll introduce our special guest in a moment, but everybody's ready for the Super Bowl. We're recording one day before the Super Bowl, so we don't know what the outcome will be tomorrow.
I don't want all the Chiefs fans to come for me, but I'm rooting for the Eagles. There's two local boys on the Eagles, so I got to root for them. Yeah, one of them went to Athens High School, so.
Wow.
There you go. And it's not Phillip Rivers.
No, it's not Phillip Rivers. It's Watkins.
So you're a big Eagles fan now. Oh,
Tomorrow I will be.
I don't know.
Just one day.
It doesn't matter to me. So it's just crazy. I'm in Phoenix, so I says it's crazy out here. They say just don't even bother trying to go downtown or to go to the airport. Forget about it. So it's just nuts. So
yeah, and you're gonna be mad at me, Mom, because we were at trivia the other night and we had to name the stadium that the Super Bowl was playing at, and we got it wrong.
Oh, you missed State Farm Stadium. It used to be the University of Phoenix, and so. But
oh, that's what I was like, dang it, I'm like, I've been there. Like, I've seen it. I couldn't remember.
Looks like a big toaster.
Dad already left?
Yeah, he left Thursday early afternoon. They took off, so. Yeah. So, I don't know. They're not going to go there next year because the Super Bowl's in Las Vegas next year. And they won't get cheap rooms next year.
Well, what if they book them now?
Right. I don't know. It's like, want to pay $1,000 a night, right? So, nope.
Jeez.
Nope.
Well, maybe they'll do really well, and then they'll get some comps, and then they can just use their comps.
What if the Packers are in it next year?
There we go.
Then Jay's going too.
It's got to be a road trip.
Party in Vegas.
Got to be a road trip to Vegas. Yep, if the Packers are in it. But, so whether they have Rodgers or not,
I don't see that in their future for some reason. But
Trying to be an optimistic fan.
I'm looking at that glass half empty. Yeah.
What are you drinking there, Sherry? It is happening.
Well,
Yay!
Mary. It is a Bloody Mary.
It's a bloody.
Nice.
Oh, yep. Well, at least you won't hear any cans cracking open there. So.
I got my vodka cranberry going.
Oh, see, hey, I'm not the only one.
Oh man,
It's only noon.
It's later
here.
in the day for us. All right.
Chrissy,
I'm
are you
drinking
still-
liquid IV. No, this is liquid
Oh,
IV.
she needs that from last
Hello,
night.
not even sponsored. No, it was my liquid IV. No, I went for a run this morning. This is my replacement drink. So yeah,
Nothing to do with last night. Okay.
No, nothing to do with last night. It was pretty quiet night. But anyway, one thing I didn't tell Sherry and Colleen, but so when we go to visit Mom, we're going to go up to the Grand Canyon in April, and we're going to stay in Flagstaff at the Hotel Monte Vista.
Yeah, Mom told me.
Well, did she tell you what room that Greg booked the boys
Yes.
in? The meat.
Yes, she did. But go ahead.
They're staying in the meat man room.
The meat man room. Mom
The
said
meat man room.
Okay, that sounds.
No.
well, it's like
Well,
like
if
a
you
butcher or something, right, Chrissy?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah,
I guess.
that's
I mean,
what
if you
you
go to
said,
the
butcher.
website,
That makes more sense.
Oh,
Meat man. I don't know.
yeah, it's the meat man room. So
That's
if you
what
go
she
to the
said.
website, some hotels don't like to play up the fact that they're haunted, but that's not the case with this hotel. They have the room numbers and what you can expect in each room. And so Graham, of course, my horror-loving kiddo, is like, I'm going to look at these like, oh, I want to stay in the Meat Man room. And so Greg calls them, and sure enough, it's available. And we had booked a room with 2 queens in it. And I'm like, well, maybe we could save $10 and go and downsize. And Greg's like, I'd hang on to that room. He's like, what if they get scared in the middle of the night and need to come in? He's already planning on like putting the extra room key, and hiding that and going in late at night, because there's reports of like cold male hands on guest bodies. So Greg's going to go in there, I think, and scare him a little bit. But
I think Greg's going to get the cold male hands on him then.
You might want to recheck your editing on this one. It sounded like you just said he was a whore-loving child. Say horror.
Horror.
You gotta pronounce that R.
Horror loving.
Horror.
He likes scary things. Well, that's even worse. Jeez.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Then he stayed in the Meat Man room.
All
All right. This
All
took
right.
a turn.
Poor Pat here has been like,
Okay,
oh my goodness,
yeah,
what did I get into? So I'm going to introduce our guest
That's
here
a
today.
new category of podcast. All right.
So I'm going to give a shout out to our cousin's wife, Sarah, for introducing us to Pat and her story that she's about. She sent an email to me with Pat's story, and it gave me goosebumps reading it. So go ahead, Pat, whenever you're ready. Take it away.
Okay. In the small Midwestern town that I live in, there is a house, and I've never lived in this house, but I have a very vivid memory of staying at this house. The house was built in 1920. It is a 1,690 square foot home. It's always been a kind of a nice looking house, but it's had lots of renovations over the years. And it'll be interesting to know how those renovations have caused, I think, people to live there not very long. I'm going to describe the house a little bit for you. It has a living room in the front, a dining room in the middle, and a kitchen in the back with a bathroom right next to the kitchen. It's all straight through run. There's no turning corners. It's just a straight through run. And if you come back to the front, to the living room, there's the stairwell, and you go up the stairway, and there's 3 bedrooms and a bath upstairs. The bedroom I was going to stay at was in the front of the house. My friend, very close friend of mine, her and her husband bought this house in 1980. And her husband had to go out of town to visit his family, and she didn't want to stay alone at the house. And I didn't think anything of it because of being afraid. It's just, and I'm not sure, but she might have been pregnant at that time. But I said, sure, I'd stay with her. That was we were good friends since first grade, and that'd be fun. So the first night, I went up to my room, and this room has not been decorated since probably the 50s, maybe. I don't know. It had Disney wallpaper, and very creepy Disney wallpaper, because it was just big floating heads of Mickey and Donald and Goofy. And the wallpaper was kind of worn and torn, so, it wasn't, real cheery anymore. And only on, I think it was wallpapered, well, it might have been on all the walls, I'm not sure. But I had a twin bed and a small night stand next to the bed, and a lamp on the table. And then across the room, there was a 3-tiered plant stand, and it was out against the wall a little bit, like at an angle. And it was 3 feet high, and it had plants on, I believe, just the top tier. And there was a light on the top. I didn't know much about this light until the next night, but, the room was very basic, not a lot in it. So that first night, I slept fine, went to bed probably, 9 or 10, slept through the night. And then the next day, after work, I came back, spent the night again, and went up to the room. Nothing strange about the room at all. I just got in bed. And then I'm going to say, because they told me this later on, that the plant light turned on like around midnight. And it was a purple glow plant light. I had been sleeping on my right side, and like I say, I think around midnight, this glow light came on. And that did not wake me up. That's not what woke me up. Something which I thought was my friend came over and shoved very hard on my pillow and then let up so that my head bounced. And of course, that woke me up right away. And I rolled over and grabbed my glasses. I was very, very nearsighted back then. And I put my glasses on. If I had to just get up and walk 3 steps to the bathroom, I always put my glasses on. So I put my glasses on and I kind of rolled over a little and I could see that glow light was on. And it had quite an illumination to see what I saw. And what I saw was a solid, dark gray figure. And it was probably about between 4 and 4.5 feet tall. It has no facial features, no hair, just no clothing, but just a form. You know, you couldn't tell whether it was female or male. But I did know it had an arm with long fingers. And these fingers were stroking a plant, very nicely stroking it. I couldn't see the legs, but I think that the apparition was behind the plant stand a little bit, or it did not have legs, which is possible.
Well, and you said, Pat, apparition, but it was solid, right? Like it was hard, not like see-through.
Like, could you see through it, or was
no? So I guess I don't know all the terms which designate what a ghost is. So I'm just saying apparition. I don't know what to call it, to tell you the truth. I don't know I always thought of it as a ghost. And when I had talked to you before and you said you thought it was maybe a creature, that really scared me because I don't know what kind of creature it is. I don't think it was evil.
Alien, it almost sounds like Alien, with the
long finger when it's like
ET.
stroking a plant, like my precious.
Yeah, I don't know. It didn't have the big eyes, didn't have, like they call them grays.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. You never know. But all these years, I just thought of it as a ghost.
I'm sorry, did you say you could see through it?
No, you could not see through it. No.
Okay, so it was solid.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
The fingers, though, I could tell were not really shaped like a human. They're kind of just long, kind of pointy at the end, but not with nails. I mean, I just get that impression. I mean, I was not that far away from it. Really, it's a small room, but definitely no face.
Yeah.
And it's almost like it's looking at the plant and stroking it. And because of those fingers and stroking it, I still thought it was my friend. And I just thought maybe I wasn't seeing her very well. It's dark still, So I called out her name. I didn't get an answer. And I thought, well, that's strange. So I called out her name again. Nothing. And it's still stroking the plant. So I just froze. I froze. I couldn't move. I could move. And I rolled over and I turned on the light by the bed. And I was able to get out of bed. And I was young then. And I tore out that room. I had to go through the doorway right past that plant stand. I do not remember seeing that creature. I tore out of there, and then I had to take a sharp right, go down the stairs, take another sharp right, and go all the way back to the kitchen. When I got to the kitchen, I turned the light on, and I was kind of just leaning against the kitchen counter, just kind of heavy, breathing. Oh my God. Because I knew I'd seen something. I knew I hadn't been dreaming. There's no way I could be that alert for that to be a dream. I knew it wasn't a dream. And I don't know how long I stayed down in the kitchen. Not that long. You're kind of resilient when you're young. And then I got to thinking, well, I didn't wake my friend up, but what is she going to think about? What am I doing down here in the kitchen? And if I didn't want to have to explain to her, well, I just saw a really scary creature in this bedroom, and I didn't want to tell her that. So I went back upstairs. I left the light on. I don't even remember if I slept the rest of the night with the light on. I don't remember. I must have fallen asleep because it, I had a long ways to go till daylight. So.
Right. But when you came back, obviously the creature was gone,
No,
right?
yes,
you went
gone.
back into the room?
Yep.
Wow.
And I might have even just sat on the bed the rest of the night. I don't know. I can't remember that. That's just not a memory too long ago. And I just remember the next day, I got up, got dressed, went to work. And when I came back to her house, I said, you know what? I don't feel well. I'm not going to stay anymore. I was supposed to stay there a week, and I lasted 2 days. So I felt really bad. And I thought, well, I don't know if I should leave her there. I don't know if she's in danger, but she doesn't seem, they've been there a couple of years already. I don't, I don't know why this creature decided to look me up, So I didn't stay there and I felt really bad. But the rest of the week went by, she was still alive. And I'm like, oh, okay, and the time frame it has to be within a year. So I don't know how many months, but my friend had her baby. And so we had a shower and it was at her house. I was hosting the shower. And so I came and I had the camera and I took photos of everybody. Like I said, the living room was in the front and the dining room's right past it, but it's kind of a big doorway, open way to the living room. So when I got my pictures developed, they had ghosty white smeary things all over them in the living room where people are there holding the baby. But the dining room next to it, there isn't. And there's some spikes.
And not to interrupt you, Pat, I need to clarify because we may have some young listeners. So back in the day, when you had a camera, you actually had to take the film and have it developed, and then you would get your pictures back. Some people don't understand that it's all instant now. So just wanted a point of clarification. These are actual physical pictures that you could hold in your hand.
And I've just pulled them up right now. Can you guys see my screen?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
So here's like this weird swirly, and with your permission, Pat, we'll post it on our social media. But
it's
I remember you'd have some weird things, but like these little swirlies. Like, what is that?
Right.
Yeah.
What is this? Yeah.
So we'll post them, but
this room is queer. But that's not the room where everybody is in with the baby.
That bundt cake looks delicious.
But yeah, there's people smiling, but they have no idea that there's just swirls around your house. Yeah, I see the bassinet.
And it's extreme. So I do want to point out, I think I did see maybe somebody was smoking. It's definitely not that. So if you can imagine, the smoke from a cigarette, it's take that and times it by 100. And that's what it looks like in these pictures. And like Chrissy said, we'll post them on social media. But this is, look at that couch and that carpet. Wow.
That's definitely a time capsule right there.
It's not a flare or anything, though, because it's in different places, so it's not just like from windows.
Well, and I think the most interesting one is this dining room because like Pat said, there's nothing in the dining room, but you can see the living room. You can see it
through the glass. Is that a door? Oh, look at that crocheted plant hanging thing. Man, that's
macrame. I used to do macrame.
Yes, that's what it's called. Thank you, Mom.
We were just I was just talking to my brother-in-law about macrame and about macrame plant holders because my sister-in-laws are getting back into macrame.
The macrame plant holders are coming back.
In the 70s,
Don't call it a comeback.
But that's frightening. That's just
amazing.
Weird. Yeah, and eerie. Those pictures are really
and to me, that almost that's intense. That seems more than maybe one. Like that's almost kind of like a whole
house full.
Maybe with the being a party, kind of going back to Brittany's story too. It's like maybe there's more than one, and they just wanted to see what was going on because that just seems like a lot than for just one entity or one spirit to create.
So Pat, has your friend had any experiences that she related to you before?
Yes. And that's because of those pictures. After I got those pictures and showed them to her, I fessed up. And she wasn't upset at all. She said, "Oh, yeah, we know about the ghost." And I'm like, "What?" And she said that the ghost has touched her husband's shoulder as he walks down the stairs. I don't know if it was more than once. They heard windows opening, shutting in the basement all the time. That happened all the time. And the cat, which I witnessed this too, the cat would sit at the bottom of the stairs and just look up just kept looking up all the time. Because I had the pleasure of staying there again to cat sit, and I wouldn't go upstairs. I slept on the living room, and I slept on the living room floor with the TV on all night. And I had a relative live next door. My aunt lived next door. And that gave me some comfort because I thought, I hear one thing, I'm out that door. And I'm just going to go right across the street to my aunt's house. But Yeah, and she said that the ghosts seemed to like the baby's room. And I don't know what she meant by that, because she didn't say to me that they ever saw it. But she just seemed to think that the ghost was in the baby's room a lot.
Ugh, that.
And I don't, like I say, I don't know why she thought that. I didn't want to ask her.
Was the baby's room the same room that you stayed in, or was it a different room?
It's a different room. It's right next to the room I stayed in. It's a very small room, right next to the one I stayed in. So she and her husband didn't have any problem with the ghost or apparition or whatever, or creature, and they lived there for 6 years. No problems.
Well, and that's what she must not have felt threatened by it. If she felt that it was in the baby's room, but let the baby continue to sleep in there, it must never have felt malevolent.
And my friends are very down-to-earth, common sense people. They just accepted it, that it was part of the house. And I don't know, it maybe didn't happen enough. They got used to it. I think a lot of people do. I had an incident here at this house that I didn't see anything, but I definitely heard it. And you know what? I'm still here. It scared the living daylights out of me, but I'm still here. You just kind of, I don't see it today, so I'm not moving out. But I was going to say that a little more history on the house. I went to the courthouse and I wanted to find out how many people have lived here. There's been 14 owners of this house, and it's never been rental. So far as I know, it's never been a rental. The third owner lived there the longest. It was a woman. I think she got it in 1933, and she was there till 1974. She died in 1977. Okay, and that's important, because she's the only person that I can figure out could have come back and had such connection to the house, because she'd lived there so long, to maybe be there. But if this isn't a ghost, then it's not her. But a lot of people lived there only 2 years, 1 year, 4 years. It has had a lot of renovations from 2007 till now, a lot, big time, whole new kitchen, new windows, new siding. And that's some of the shortest time periods where people live there, 2 years, 1 year. And I'm just kind of wondering if that has anything to do with it, because I've been told that when you mess around with houses, start doing remodeling and things, it stirs up things. And another couple that lived there for 10 years after my friend, I don't think a ghost would have scared them one bit either. I know them, and it wouldn't have been a big deal. And they were older people. They weren't, some of the people that have lived there recently, they've been young couples, quite young. And I don't know if they would have handled that very well. I grew up in a house that my mom told us she saw a ghost standing at the foot of her bed, and she would see it several times, and she was pretty sure it was the owner that built the house that we lived in. I grew up with ghost stories. So, of course, that incident was terrifying to me, but yet, now I go ghost hunting, now I want to know and talk to them. So
it's interesting. I kind of want to take a step back, because did your friend ever, did she say she saw anything, or did they?
She never saw anything.
So they just felt things. So I almost.
Yep. And heard things.
Okay. I almost wonder, like I said, I wonder if there was more than one entity or something going on, because for you to see what you saw and described, and how it was dark, it was solid, it was black or gray, those always have a tendency to lean towards more of a darker, I'm not even going to say malevolent, because that's not always the case, but the pictures show more of a white, smoky, wispy looking, and, around a baby shower. And if there was something around the baby's room, maybe there was something, maybe there was a good, maybe there was a bad, maybe there was more good that could kind of hold the bad back. But, having something with long fingers stroking a plant, like, to me, that just seems very odd, very creepy. That seems almost more leaning towards the darker side. Whereas if they're saying, oh, I felt a touch on the shoulder, or I heard something, but never felt threatened, like Chrissy mentioned, then they almost seem different. And so I wonder if there was a couple of things going on. And I do have one question too. As this thing is stroking this plant, was the plant moving?
Yeah, I think so.
Nope. Okay.
I think so.
Okay. Because I just wanted to see if it was like going through the plant, or if it was actually
I don't think
plant.
it was.
Well, but something woke you up, right, Pat? Like, you said hit your pillow enough to bounce your
Yeah, I mean,
head.
that was quite a force.
Yeah.
That was quite hard. Yes.
Well, maybe there was a good thing in there waking her up, saying there's this creepy MFer in here. You might want to wake up and get the heck out. Like,
yeah, yeah. I mean, I hope that house isn't like a gateway to something,
Well, but what did you feel? I mean, obviously it was creepy, but sometimes people will say, and like you said too, you're used to ghost stories. I mean, your first sense was, yeah, I'm scared because it's not normal, but it almost seems like if you were able to go back into that room, that maybe you didn't feel like it was as threatening either.
Yeah, but Chris, you didn't come back after that.
Well,
I never went back to that room.
But you didn't go back in. You didn't sit on the bed. Didn't you say when you came back in?
No, yes, she did.
I thought you meant after that.
After that day.
Yeah.
But
yes, I did.
Like if that was me, I mean, I love scary stuff, but I'm the biggest chicken in the world. And if I ever woke up and saw something stroking, I don't think I'd ever go back into that room. I would be too scared. I'd be like, I'm out of here.
It was the floating heads. They're so inviting.
Pat, I have a question for you. Do you remember sometimes people experience cold when they feel spirits? Do you remember anything like cold, or did it make any sounds or smell?
Nope.
No, nothing like that.
Nope. No sounds, no smell, nothing like that at all. And when I turned the light on in the room, that just was enough of a comfort for me to not be afraid, And my friend was just hopping to skip away. If I would have come back, I think I would have actually yelled out for her, But like I say, I don't remember if I fell back asleep, but the room was quite brightly lit for the rest of the night. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I would spend a night in that house again, but I kind of wish I could in a way, just to find out. And I wish I could talk to somebody that's lived there recently to ask them. But I'm so afraid, people are, I don't know what people are going to think when I ask them what happened to me, and, or they're just going to go, get away from me, So I don't know. If I knew the people better, I might. And maybe down the road, maybe I will get a chance to ask if there's any other people that have had experiences. I didn't really keep it to myself. My family all knows about it, but I don't really advertise it unless it comes up. People give me a ghost story and I might share. You know what I mean? Someday I might get the courage to talk to some other people that live there and see if they had any experiences. Yeah. I mean, sometimes when we go ghost hunting, I'm real brave, and then sometimes I am not. So, but anyway, I just, it's a story it's an event that happened to me that I'll never forget it. When people tell me their stories, I have a more tendency to believe because I have actually seen it. People say, I don't believe in ghosts. I've never seen one. Well, when you see one, you might change your mind. So,
well, I think also is that we've had folks that we've had previous guests that have experienced being woken up in the night, and it's happened to me. Is that it's not a dream. You're not dreaming. It's real. You're awake.
Yeah. Oh, I was awake. I mean, I don't think I put my glasses on and then later turn the light on, and I don't think I would do that in my sleep, and I certainly wouldn't run that fast down the stairs and make it in my sleep. So I've never thought it was a dream. Never.
Yeah, creepy. My watch just told me I need to relax, that I'm feeling stressed right now. So your story got my blood pressure going. That's pretty good.
Well, I'd be curious to know what kind of creature that would be considered. I don't know. I haven't looked up enough to see other people that have seen something like that.
It's the long fingers for me.
Yeah.
It's more like a gray or an alien.
I've heard of like the shadow people. You hear of shadow people,
right?
Well, I kind of looked up shadow people, and that doesn't seem to fit because it's being solid like it is.
And solid, and it could touch the plant, and that was why I wanted to ask if it was fingers were going through the plant or if it was actually making physical contact and moving the plant. So creepy.
Well, that's the memory I have, that it was stroking the plant and it was not going through. The fingers were not going through the plant.
And you may not remember, but was there 5 fingers on a hand, or
there was more than it was more than 3. I mean, there was I don't remember a thumb. It seemed like there might have been at least
just 4 long fingers.
4 maybe. Yeah. 4 long fingers. Because I thought it was kind of a human hand in a way. I didn't think of it as something abnormal right off the bat, because you don't think of a ghost stroking a plant.
No.
Yeah.
That's not what
Your
comes to mind.
Your mind kind of tells you things at first, what it's supposed to be. But then when you look at it a little longer, then you kind of go, wait a minute. No, that's not a human hand.
Okay, Pat. So what kind of plant was it? Because I would like to avoid that plant.
Oh, it was a plant with the real long, spiky, leaves.
Oh.
Not a very big plant, but the long, spiky leaves.
Spiky leaves. And
so,
who am I kidding? It comes to my house, it's going to die. So it's all right.
I mean, it couldn't have been too big a plant because the creature wasn't very big either. And it was above, It stood above the plant enough for me to tell that I could see a little bit of the torso. I'm not real sure about a neck, but definitely a head and a torso and an arm. I can see it. I can picture it in my mind just like I saw it. I mean, that's 40 years ago. So
it doesn't seem like something you'd forget. Yeah. Wonder if that wallpaper is still there.
I go by that house quite a bit still, and if it's summertime, I'll walk by it, and I look up at the windows, and I want to know, oh gosh, is something going to look out the window at me? And so far, no. I see the for sale sign. I'm always looking at the realtor ads, and I can see, oh, it's for sale again.
Yeah.
Can't believe it.
You should walk in or pretend that you're going to be a buyer the next time it's for sale.
Yeah.
Just to see if, after how many remodels, that there's still the disembodied heads of Mickey Mouse on that wall. Now that would be scary if they never took the wallpaper off.
I wish in a way I would have gotten a picture of that bedroom. I wish I would have been smart enough to go up there and take pictures of it, but I just never wanted to go up there again. So I didn't.
Cool.
Colleen is trying to show us disembodied Disney heads.
That could be potentially the
Disney
wallpaper.
heads, yeah. I mean, they were large. They were about big as just if you spread your hand out. They were not little pictures. They were big, just floating all over the place. Big heads.
And Pat, what was your adjective for it? Did you call it creepy Disney wallpaper? It's like paper. Was that the adjective?
Yeah,
you
it was
used?
very creepy. Yeah.
Can you show me Disney wallpaper that's not creepy?
Kind of like a fat head.
Well, that's my story. So it's amazing how many people you talk to that have firsthand experiences. More than you think. A lot of people just kind of keep quiet about them, so you don't know. But
yeah, I was going to say a lot of just like you said, Pat. You really, if somebody was telling their story, then you would share your story, but you're not just coming out and saying it. So I think there's a lot of people out there that have experiences, and not just one. They might have, like you've had multiple ones in different locations, and it's fascinating to hear, your perspective and hear some of the things that you say that are very similar to what other people have said about, I didn't believe in it before, and then I experienced it firsthand, and then there's no way, I tried to think logically, what could this possibly be? Like you said, you thought it was your friend, even though you knew in your head that there's no way that could be my friend, but my logical brain is going to call out her name anyway, just to see if she responds. And, it's just, those types of things. But I feel like we've heard that so much from our guests and their experiences. And yeah, we want to hear more. We want to hear more about what people have experienced. And, it's fascinating how we can make some of those connections too, in terms of, oh, this is similar to what this person has said, or this is similar to that. So it's like creating a little community that we have here.
Great. Yep, we appreciate them. Like we said, they're all, there's similar themes, but everybody's are unique. And that's what makes it really interesting. Well, thank you so much, Pat, for coming on and sharing your story. And again, to all our listeners, if you have a story to share, or if you know someone who has a story to share, please email us at notyourmothersbedtimestory@gmail.com. Thank you, everyone, for listening. And for now, take it away, Mom.
Thank you for listening, and remember to keep that night light on. Good night, sweet dreams.
If you have a story to share, please send it to notyourmothersbedtimestory@gmail.com. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Not Your Mother's Bedtime Story. And please help us grow by following us on your favorite podcast platform, leaving us a positive review, and telling a friend. Thank you for your support.